Hakuo listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to join me on X or Instagram. You can all listen to this podcast on your normal streaming service. You can also join me on YouTube, where I restream it there. So we're at day 11 of the Natsu Basho in Tokyo. We have a sole leader. It's not who we expect at all. It is Maegashira 10, Shonannoumi, who leads by himself after 9 wins by beating joint leader Takarafuji, Maegashira 16, while our new Komusubi Onosato fell to a super strong Ozeki Hoshoryu on day 11. Korazakura stays behind 1 win, as well as 8 wins with Onosato, Daisho, Takarafuji and Mitakayumi, and our debutante Oshoma is still back there on 8 wins, chasing our leader. So with a couple of days, 4 days left of the Basho, look, anything can still happen from here. It's throwing up some predictable outcomes and the most Kyujos I've seen, certainly in the Senyaku ranks. So let's have a look at day 10 and 11. Our 8-win debutante, Oshoma, met Ryuden on day 10. He gets Ryuden Hatakikomi. It was a bit of a thrusting, grabbing battle off the tachi-ai. Oshoma took an opportunity to grab Ryuden's shoulder and pull him forward for the win. That gets him to 8 wins. On to Takara. I'll skip over a few of the matches. We've got a fair bit to get through. Takarafuji met up with Ichiyamamoto on day 8. Now, Ichiyamamoto, as we know, he is known for a very forward thrusting attack, very drive happy. He went for the thrusting attack, bit of an arm wrestle in the middle. Takarafuji held his arms as Ichiyamamoto ended up pushed back to the bales. He had a foot against the side. Takarafuji had his left arm by the elbow. His right arm was locked up. Takarafuji took the opportunity to lift Ichiyamamoto by the elbows. It unsettled him. It got him stood up a little bit. He got both arms around him for a Yorikiri force out. Next up, we will look at Shodai versus Hokutofuji. Hokutofuji went for a really big Nodowa neck thrust and drove Shodai to the edge. Shodai got a left body grip and he tilted Hokutofuji, which allowed him to get around and then used his momentum to push Hokutofuji, who basically just stepped off forward. He was a bit off balance. Tsukiotoshi out Hokutofuji went. Moving on, Mitakayumi was beaten by Kota Shoho. Mitakayumi went forward at the tachi-ai. He kind of ushered Kota Shoho back with a big Nodowa, but Kota Shoho dodged the Nodowa and kind of just moved his head, which really off-balanced Mitakayumi. It just kind of fell off him, left him open for an easy push-out. That sort of loss will not win him the Yusho. Midorifuji was up against our current leader after day 11. This is on day 10. He went up against Shonannoumi. I'm really not sure what Midorifuji was trying to do here. It seemed like he didn't have much of a plan, or if he did, it just didn't execute in any way, shape or fashion. He got into an arm wrestle at the tachi-ai. He locked up with Shonannoumi with the arms. At one point, he disengaged and started to retreat as Shonannoumi took advantage and drove him over the bales. It was just too fast and too defensive for Midorifuji. Whatever that plan was, it just didn't work tonight. That was Kachikoshi for Shonannoumi. Meisei versus a much improved Hiradumi. Hiradumi obviously has been going really hard at the tachi-ai this whole tournament, and tonight, day 10 was no different. He had a big thrusting attack that pushed Meisei back to the bales. Meisei moved sideways, moved laterally, and Hiradumi followed him, but he got a bit too forward as Meisei opens a door and helped him past at the bales. Tsukiotoshi. That got Meisei to 7 wins. A bit of an unfortunate loss there for Hiradumi. Next up, Tamifuji versus Tobizaru. Tobizaru, obviously, he's been going hard at the tachi-ai. He went hard this time at the Tamifuji. They went back to the bales, and Tobizaru kept up the movement, and he goes lateral so he doesn't get too pushed against the bales. And he spent a lot of time trying to keep Tamifuji away from him, thrusting, didn't want to get in too close. Eventually, Tobizaru went in for an inside belt grip, but Atamifuji locked up his arm, and Tobizaru recognised that, and he wanted out. So he gave it up, he pulled himself away, exchanged a few more thrusts, and Tobizaru had a chance, but he went in for a big leg sweep or a kick inside of Atamifuji's foot, but he got a bit of a glancing hit on the chest from Atamifuji as he started the kick, and as a consequence, he missed the kick. Well, he didn't miss it by a mile, but he got a glancing blow, but you may as well say it was an air swing. Unfortunately, it put him off balance and going backwards, and Atamifuji pounced, and that's all he needed was for a decent big push-out. Oshidashi win for Atamifuji. Onosato versus Gonoyama. Onosato got a really good touchy eye and just followed it up. Gonoyama had no defence. His big charge at Gonoyama, but he just had nothing, and he got driven out and down in a hurry. I just wrote here, he dominated Gonoyama at that point. That was Kachikoshi for Onosato. I think you can almost guarantee that will get him a Sekiwake spot, given how poor the rest of everybody is going up in those ranks. Wakamoto Haru is likely to drop down. Daisho will probably go back up. So, yeah, look, Onosato's one more win, and he is looking at a Sekiwake spot easily. Ura versus Sekiwake Abi. Abi's doing okay. Ura went in low as usual, his Greco-Roman style, as I keep saying. He kept up thrusting, tried to lift Abi, but Abi just smacked Ura about, left and right. Ura's head was never in one spot for more than a microsecond as Abi just whacked him left and right. He tried to keep up the movement. He tried to keep the thrusts up against Abi, but he just went back to the bales. He suffered a nasty Nottawa neck thrust, which forced Ura to look at the roof. He grabbed Abi's arm and tried for a Kotanage arm lock throw, but he just doesn't get enough purchase. He's off balance, enough for Abi to finish him off. He goes down. Ura does have a bit of judo background, does know how to fall, and whilst they're spectacular, his somersault to finish it off is probably more about protecting himself as he goes down more than anything else. Hoshoryu versus Onosho. This was a really fast fight. You blink and you miss it. Hoshoryu hit at the touchy eye, but he was kind of at 45 degrees. He's a bigger man than Onosho, and he just went straight in for a deep right belt grip and pulled Onosho down. Watadashe Nage, that's the pulling arm lock throw down. A little bit different to Owatanage. It's just got a bit more of an arm pull there. Korazakura up against Takayasu, who came back from Kyujo. The big hairy bear is back. He's got lumbago, which is a back condition. He's been out. I think it's an ongoing condition that's going to suffer for the rest of his career. Up against our Ozeki, Korazakura. Look, this is a battle of two very large men. No one seemed to want to get to the belt off the touchy eye, but eventually a little bit of thrusting, a little bit of movement. They did get into a belt battle. Kotozakura ended up with an inside belt grip. Takayasu had the outside belt grip. They went towards the bales after a bit of tussling, and Kotozakura went for the outside Shitatanage. He couldn't get it. Takayasu had the inside grip, and it just gave him the leverage against Kotozakura's arm to pull off an Owatanage throw. He goes down, Kotozakura, and his chances of the Yusho went down with him. He's falling back one fight with 4 days to go. 3 other people in the lead. Takayasu, the Ozeki spoiler. So that left on day 10. Onosato on 8. Takarafuji on 8. Shonannoumi on 8. Kotozakura on 7. Daisho on 7. Meisei, Mitakayumi, Kotoshoho, Churanoumi and Oshoma on 7. On to the next day, day 11 tonight. Look, Chiyoshima, he easily beat Tsurugisho, drive out Yorakiri. Tomokaze drove out Toki Hayate, even on his dodgy ankle. Ryuden beat Kimbozan. He got on the belt and used it to pull him over Uwatanage. Ichi Yamamoto got a lucky one. He got a Fusen win over an injured Mitoryu tonight. And then we came up to our headline match for day 11 for one of our leaders. And it was actually two of our leaders, Takarafuji versus Shonannoumi. Takarafuji, Maegashira 16, Shonannoumi, Maegashira 10. Takarafuji, he missed the belt, and Shonannoumi gripped up and pulled him back using his arms for a kotanage arm lock throw, which put Shonannoumi 9-2. Moving on. Midori Fuji up against Tobizaru. Tobizaru went in low. He pressured Midori Fuji back to the bales, but Tobizaru, he just kept staying probably as low as Ura does sometimes, and Midori Fuji got a slap on the back of his shoulder or his back, and as a result, Tobizaru went a bit far forward, and I saw it in live, and I was pretty sure he'd touched down at that point. He did. He touched down, and they called it a Hataki Komi, but they kind of kept going. I don't think the Gyoji saw it right at that moment, and they kept going, and as Midori went backwards, he did get under the shoulder of Tobizaru, and it looked like he got either a Karasukashi or a bit of an arm lock throw at the end anyway. So either way, Midori Fuji was going to get the win. Tobizaru touched down. They called it Hataki Komi. Ura was up against Daisho. Ura. What are we going to say about you, sir? After last night's beating, he went back for more. Daisho came off the tachiai. Now, we know he's the human threshing machine, and he was smacking Ura's head about left and right again. The man's going to have a concussion. Ura persisted, and he stayed low, and he kept up the pressure, and he forced Daisho back. Bit of a rugby tackle, but he fell and hit the ring just before Daisho went out backwards over the ring. After he got a beating last night, he kept up what he tried, and he nearly had it, but it was just not enough. I think he needs to go back to what he was doing earlier this week. He seems to have gone back to the chaos Ura a little bit. Anyway, our Ozeki spoiler, Takayasu was up against Atami Fuji. This was the fight of the day. If you want to see a classic sumo fight, this is the one to watch. Atami Fuji at Maegashira 1 versus Takayasu. Look, it was a big belt battle where they both gave everything. Takayasu finally got Atami Fuji going back just a bit too fast. Anyway, Atami Fuji gets a big body grip off the tachiai. Takayasu, he got a belt on the right. He forced Atami Fuji back to the bales, but Atami Fuji saved it by moving laterally, moved to the side. He got a bit of an inside belt grip and an outside right. They both lost one hand grip at the time after a bit of a tussle in the middle, and there was a bit quick stalemate in the centre. Takayasu got back onto a double belt grip, left out and a right inside. Bit of a body shift, and Takayasu lost it for a moment. Atami Fuji took him back to the rope, and he tried one hand on the belt and one on the head as he moved back just a bit too fast. It was a bit too fast of a retreat. Takayasu went in for the big drive using Atami Fuji's momentum and tries to use his he didn't try, he did. He got his shoulder into the chest of Atami Fuji, pushed him forward as Atami Fuji was going backwards. Takayasu face planted, but Atami Fuji was out long first. That gave another win for Takayasu, knocking over our upper echelons. Abi beat Onosho. Big Nottawa thrust push from Abi at the tachiai, finished with a shoulder drive. Onosho was out. Wakamoto Haru coming up for his second go after coming back from Kyujo. He was up against our big round belly man Hirodumi. That is return Kyujo 3 and 4 he is at the moment, so he's probably trying to salvage something. Hirodumi, he was just strong and fast on the tachiai, got a body grip. Wakamoto Haru got a body grip, but Hirodumi converted it into an under-shoulder grip and turned Wakamoto Haru over at the bales. Wakamoto Haru touched his elbow first. It was a fair way in front of Hirodumi. Really good, forceful win by Hirodumi. He really has come along so well in this tournament. He's doing fine at 5 and 6. Korozakura up against Meisei, both 7 and 3 tonight. big shoulder charge at the tachiai. Kotozakura locked up Meisei's arms. They break away, a bit of a thrusting attack as Kotozakura was up against the bales, but he recovered. Meisei somehow goes down to the dirt forward as he can't get any purchase on Kotozakura's strange fall. Kotozakura used his height and weight on top of Meisei. I think a bit of pressure on his shoulder or his back and helped him down to the dirt. Reasonably easy win for Kotozakura. Onosato, one of our joint leaders after day 10, was up against Ozeki Hoshoryu. Komusubi versus Ozeki. Hoshoryu got a belt grip and threw Onosato Shitatta Nage, massive throw. That put Onosato one back. It was interesting watching this fight in replay. Hoshoryu really went full stare down, took his time, tried every intimidating trick he has in the book. Onosato went down very early, and I just thought he looked slightly nervous for this fight. Onosato went for the right grip, but he just got nothing on the left, and Hoshoryu got that immediate belt grip on the right. Onosato tried to lock up his right arm, but it wasn't overly effective. Hoshoryu set his feet and pulled him over for a spectacular flip, lifting Onosato clean off the ground. It's interesting, he did use his leg at the back to help Onosato's leg up to help him flip him over. Once Onosato smacked the dirt, Hoshoryu strutted back to his spot, full Ozeki style. Shitatta-nage, arm belt throw, underarm belt throw. Hoshoryu succeeded in almost the same grip throw that Wakamoto Haru failed at a little bit earlier. So our leader after day 11, our sole leader is Shonannoumi. So who is he? Well, look, he's a Japanese man. He's from Kanagawa. He's 194 centimetres tall. He's a big man at over 190 kilos. So he is one of the larger wrestlers. If you watch all of his fights from this tournament, I like his ability to shift his weight in the mid-fight. He does like to disengage and pull them down, move back quickly, but he is also a really good belt and arm wrestler. It seems he's a bit difficult to beat when he gets his arms and belts going. An aggressive drive by Ichi Yamamoto beat him the other night, and a fairly reasonable drive by Mitakayumi got him as well. They're his two losses this tournament. So tonight, a grab and a disengage for a Kotanage arm lock throw. Could have easily been a Hitaki Komi against Takarafuji. Why have we not really mentioned Shonannoumi before? Well, he's not really won anything. I think he's won one trophy in his time. He's got about 400 fights under his belt. To me, he's a bit of a middle order wrestler who's never really stood out. So I really hope that he does continue on in this tournament. He seems to have some very good orthodox sumo style. Maybe the way to beat him is a really aggressive drive. Anyway, with 4 nights left, it is still open in the race. As I said, Shonannoumi in the lead. Kotozakura, Daieisho, Mitakayumi, Takarafuji, and our debutante Oshoma chasing on 8 wins. Hoshoryu on 7 with a few others. Let's see where the rest of this tournament goes. It will be interesting. I still think this tournament is wide open for the taking. Certainly the way Daieisho's fighting, he looks very motivated. Kotozakura, I would have said, could have easily won this tournament. Certainly Takarafuji is well in the race. Oshoma, maybe, I don't know, he's certainly not showing the same sort of style as Takarafuji from March in terms of dominating people. He has won 8 wins though, so with a couple of losses. Mitakayumi, not sure he'll make the 15 days in terms of endurance. Hoshoryu, 2 back, he is certainly an outside chance. So that's the end of day 11. Don't forget to join me again when we update. It should be an interesting basho as it goes along with 4 nights to go. Don't forget to keep watching. Hakioi listeners, let's learn sumo.